eminent speakers on our ISAS platform who are experts in their field. Today, we would be having the privilege of listening to Dr. Virendra Kumar on radiation technology, a versatile tool for multifaceted applications. To start the proceedings for the evening, I would now like to request Dr. A.V. Bharti, Chairman, Nagpur Chapter ISAS, to welcome all our dignitaries, members of ISAS, and all our participants through his welcome address.
Uh, Good evening, all. Now I request all of you to just mute yourself. Okay, thank you. Uh, Good evening once again. Today I welcome you all on this platform. Dr. Virendra Kumar, who is today's speaker, is head Advanced Material Section and Associate Professor SBNI Mumbai. I welcome you, sir. He is speak on radiation technology, a versatile tool for multifaceted applications. Today's chief guest is Dr. Alok Kumar Basu, ex-deputy director cum coordinator, Central of Forensic Sciences Laboratory, Pune. I welcome you, sir. Again, I welcome our President, National President, Dr. Chandra Chudam, Vice President, Dr. Raghav Saran, Chairman of Webinar Committee, Dr. Rajiv Raghavan, other dignitaries on the platform, Dr. Balram, Vijay Lakshmi Madam, then Virendra Kumar Sir, Dr. Gajanan, and all other participants and my friends. I welcome you all for today's webinar. Now over to you, Preeti Madam.
Thank you, sir. Prayer is the most powerful tool mankind has. The purpose of prayer is not to influence God, but to influence the one who is praying. So let's seek some strength and wisdom from God and proceed for our traditional and auspicious lamp lighting ceremony. I would like to request all our dignitaries to join us in virtually lighting the lamp. Now, I would request Dr. Raghav Saran sir, Vice President ISAS, to give his opening remarks. Sir, you are muted, sir. Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Honorable President, ISAS, Dr. Chanchudan, Dr. Rajiv, Chairman Webinar Committee, Dr. Nair, Dr. Pille, Dr. Balram, Dr. Bharti, Adya Ma'am, Honorable EC members, distinguished luminaries, Dr. Alok Basu, Dr. Virendra Kumar, today's speaker, and Dr. Alok Basu, today's chief guest, and Dr. Virendra Kumar, today's eminent speaker, an expert in radiation technology. A very good evening to you all. Friends, we are privileged to have Dr. Alok Basu today as chief guest. In spite of his busy outstation schedule, he kindly gave his consent to address and inaugurate today's webinar. I knew he will not reject my request. In spite of being a big scientist, he is also a very affable person and he will never be able to say no. We call him out of fondness, Dada. So thank you, Dada, for joining. Now, in winter, the sun rays are very cozy, comfortable, pleasant. But the same sun rays in summer, they become scorchy and we are unable to tolerate them. So, what is the difference? Sun is same, but the difference lies only in the fact that in summer we are not able to tolerate it. That is, tolerance level for the sun decreases at that time. So basically, it is when we talk of radiation, it is simply a game of tolerance level. Though in common populace brain, it is right from long back, it is inundated that radiation, nuclear energy, atomic energy is something not useful, something not. I mean, it is harmful, useful, but also harmful. That is since from the days of atom bomb at Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But now we know very well that radiations are highly useful, highly useful in several fields, whether it is agriculture, it is medicine, whether it is disinfecting surgical appliances, or several other things, radioisotopes, and all that. So, here today, Dr. Virendra Kumar is among us. He is a radiation technology expert and he will be throwing light on its versatile, multifaceted applications of radiation technology. Thank you. Preeti.
Thank you, Saran sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Rajiv Raghavan, who is chairman of webinar committee, to say a few words.
Dr. P.P. Chandrachudan, President ISAS, Dr. A.K. Basu, ex-Deputy Director, Central Forensic Science Lab, Pune, and today's chief guest, Dr. Virendra Kumar, Head Advanced Material Section, BRC, and today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Raghav Sharan, Vice President ISAS, Dr. Avinash Bharati, Chairman, Nagpur Chapter, ISAS, Dr. V.R. Nair, Dr. N.K. Pillai, Dr. Balram, and all other distinguished audience, ISAS members, and the committee and the Department of Chemistry, ROCM Nagpur. Friends, a very good evening. Nuclear energy and radiation is a gray area to most of the people. Even though nuclear technology came into the prominence by the introduction of nuclear bombs, the peaceful applications of nuclear technology stands in forefront. Except the Hiroshima and Nagasaki incidents, nuclear technology is being used for the applications like low carbon electricity production, agriculture, food industry, medicine, transport. Most of the area is nuclear technology is now involved, and now the technology be harnessed the highly harmful nuclear radiations and used for the advancement of mankind. However, for common man, still afraid of nuclear technology due to the lack of awareness. Today's talk by Dr. Virendra Kumar will enlighten us in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghavan sir. I would now request our Honorable National President of ISAS, Dr. Chandrachudan sir, to address us.
Good evening, my friend Dr. Alok Kumar Basu, our chief guest today, Dr. Virendra Kumar, today's expert speaker, Dr. V.R. Nair and Dr. N.K. Pillai, the past presidents of ISAS, all my expert colleagues in the ISAS committee, chairman and convener of ISAS webinar committee, all special invitees, Dr. Balram, and esteemed participants. First of all, I would like to wish you a very happy Teachers' Day, which happens to fall tomorrow, 5th September. And today we are in the eve of the Teachers' Day this year. Friends, we have with us Dr. A.K. Basu, who is former Deputy Director Forensic Research Lab in India, who is a well-acknowledged expert in forensic sciences, deeply accomplished in analytical chemistry with additional emphasis on nuclear analytical techniques. Dr. Basu was actively involved in the process of setting up and operating advanced forensic labs in India. And Dr. Basu carries a goldmine of vivid experience with him. ISIS is in fact extremely grateful to you to be present among us today as our chief guest. Thank you, Dr. Basu. Our expert speaker today is Dr. Virendra Kumar, a young technologist from BARC. Though he is young, he is already richly experienced in radiation technology through his eminent work in the field over the past almost about quarter century. What I gather from my brief discussion with him is that he is working in a vast variety of radiation technology applications that can make a practical impact by offering engineering solutions to many problems needing lasting remedies. Radiation technology offers a vast variety of engineering solutions, and therefore I look forward to listen to Dr. Virendra Kumar's talk with great interest. Though the nuclear technology, as our Vice President mentioned, started with the big bang of the nuclear bomb, it is also true that the nuclear technology is part of the nature, the performance of nature, which is energizing the entire cosmos through the nuclear process, and that also promotes the vegetation and provides us fuel and practically everything that nature provides as a direct link to nuclear technology. On this occasion, I wish to appreciate the dynamic ISIS webinar team led by Dr. Rajiv Raghavan, Dr. Raghav Saran, who Vice Presidents of ISIS, Dr. Avinash Bharati and his team at Nagpur, and Dr. Dipti Shivdas and her team at Thiruvananthapuram, who deserves a special thanks for their high quality leadership and dynamism in organizing ISIS webinars. Now I thank Dr. Preeti Mangulkar and kindly request her to kindly proceed further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Dr. Gajanan, Associate Professor and Head at Department of Chemistry, KITS Nagpur, to introduce our chief guest for the evening, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu.
Good evening. Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Respected dignitaries on the virtual dais, and today's chief guest, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu sir, and resource person, Dr. Virendra Kumar sir, and respected Chadridon President, and Rajiv Raghavan sir, and Raghav Saran sir, and Avinash Bharti sir, and all my senior colleagues and friends. Very good evening and namaskar to everyone. It is my great privilege and pleasure to introduce the distinguished personality, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu sir. I'm going to share the screen, please. Just a moment. Hope you are able to see.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
It is.
yes.
are you able to see? Thank you. Dr. Alok Kumar Basu sir, ex-deputy director. Just a minute. Central Forensic Science Laboratory, under Directorate of Forensic Sciences, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, Pune. Sir conferred and received many awards, and a few are PhD in Chemistry from University of Mumbai in 1990, and MSc degree in Chemistry from Calcutta University in 1979. And he held many distinguished positions, a few to mention here. Indian Association of Cultivation of Science, Jadavpur, Kolkata, as a research student in polysaccharide chemistry in 1981, National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science under Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, New Delhi. Joined as Neutron Activation Analysis Unit of Central Forensic Science Laboratory, Calcutta in 1986. He also held a distinguished position at Analytical Chemistry Division of BARC, Mumbai. And in continuation, Sir, entrusted as examined several real life arsenic cases pertaining to ballistics, chemistry, toxicology, and source correspondence studies, and other employing nuclear analytical techniques. He also a coordinator in establishing the new Central Arsenic Science Laboratory at Pune. He carried out various R&D works and related to different scientific projects of arsenic sciences in collaboration with scientists of BARC, Mumbai. Many he has having to his credits, and very few to mention here to his credits. A large number of research papers published in various reputed national and international journals, proceedings, and digits, and awarded on different occasions by the Department of Forensic Sciences, Government of India, and also felicitated several times. He has delivered lectures to the various courses attended by different judiciaries, police officials, and first sneak personals. So, my great privilege to introduce such a distinguished personality. And thank you very much, sir, for giving this opportunity.
I would now like to request our chief guest for the evening, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu, ex-Deputy Director cum Coordinator, CFSL Pune, to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Gayalan.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
evening to all. Dr. P.P. Chandrachudan, National State Research, Dr. Raghav Saran, National Vice President Research, Dr. Rajiv Raghavan, Chairman, Directors Committee Research, Avinash Bharati, Chairman, Nagpur Chapter Research, Dr. Birendra Kumar, Head Advanced National Section, BARC Mumbai, and today's speaker. Distinguished member of organizing committee, conveners, leading scientists, dignitaries, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to be here today to participate in the webinar series organized jointly by ISA's headquarters and Nagpur chapter. At the outset, I congratulate the organizer of ISAS for arranging a series of lectures by headquarters as well as by the chapter since 2020 in every Saturday in spite of this pandemic situation. In all lectures, the selection of topics were such that were relevant to analytical and instrumental technique, informative and thought-provoking. We are fortunate to have with us today Speaker Dr. Birendra Kumar of BRC, who is very dynamic and efficient scientist in the field of radiation technology, in particular induced radiation grafting. He has lots of R&D program and research paper in his credit. Today, to benefit humankind, radiation techniques used in medicine, industry, agriculture, law enforcement, research, etc. BARC, BEAT, Indore, and VECC Calcutta are the organization of Department of Atomic Energy which are engaged in development of radiation technology. Coming today's topics, which is very relevant for the purpose of I mentioned. I shall not spend more time as we are looking forward to hear from Dr. Birendra Kumar in details. Once again, I thank the organizer and wish the success of research in future. With this, I officially inaugurate the today's program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words. We are honored to have you as the chief guest for the evening. I would now request Dr. Seema Srivastav, Associate Professor and Head of Chemistry Department, Priyadarshini College of Engineering, to introduce our guest speaker for the evening.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. I'm sharing the screen. the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Respected dignitaries and participants, a very good evening to all of you. It's my honor today to introduce Dr. Virendra Kumar, who would be delivering invited talk today. Dr. Virendra Kumar, Head Advanced Materials Section AMS and Associate Professor HBNI, Mumbai, is presently working in Radiation Technology Development Division, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. Soon after obtaining his master's degree from IIT Roorkee, he joined BARC through 42nd Training School batch. He did his second 2-year postdoctoral research from ENSCP, Université Pere et Marie Curie, Paris, France. Dr. Virendra Kumar was conferred with several awards, including DAE Scientific and Technical Excellence Award 2016, DAE Group Achievement Award 2016, IANCAS Dr. Tarun Datta Memorial Award 2016, and ISRAPS Dr. P.K. Bhattacharya Memorial Young Scientist Award for year 2006. Dr. Virendra Kumar has been working on basic and applied aspects of radiation processing of polymeric materials for environmental, healthcare, and industrial applications. His research activities include polymer surface modification via radiation grafting process for various applications such as functional adsorbents for removal of toxic pollutants, antibacterial surface enzyme immobilization, radiation synthesized metal nanoparticle based optical biosensors, radiation cured inorganic oblique organic nanocomposites, coating, stimuli responsive and supra-adsorbent hydrogels, anti-fouling superhydrophobic polymer coatings by PECVD processes, etc. He has over 75 peer-reviewed journals, 5 books, 18 technical reports, 130 conference paper, and 40 invited talks to his credit. He has been actively involved in Board of Research in Nuclear Sciences and International Atomic Energy Agency activities in the field of radiation processing of polymers. Let us hear the talk from Dr. Vinod Kumar. Over to you, Preeti.
Thank you, madam. Now, without further delay, I would like to request Dr. Virendra Kumar sir to deliver his talk.
Please unmute your mic.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much, Dr. Seema Srivastava, for the kind introduction. And a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, eminent scientists and dignitaries on the dais. At the outset, let me thank the organizer of ISIS, particularly Dr. Adya Madam, Vijay Lakshmi Adya Madam, Dr. Chandrachudan, Dr. Saran, for giving me this opportunity and inviting me for this talk. And giving this opportunity to share some of the activities which are being carried out in the field of radiation technology and radiation processing for materials for various applications in BARC, and basically to showcase some of the activities, and which will certainly will let you know that how versatile this technology is. As already introduced by our earlier speaker, that radiation technology is not very well known to everybody. People are thinking like they have a negative perception about this technology, but it is a very beneficial to the society at large. I will try to see today during my talk, literally I will be advocating about this technology and try to convince you all that this is really a versatile and a very beneficial technology. Okay, so let's see how far I can do the justice with this talk. And so I will just share my presentation. Let me just give it.
think Seema is still sharing her screen.
Okay.
Yeah, Srivastava madam, may I request you to stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, so that I can start.
Yeah, sir, I think now you will be able
Is
to
it
share.
stopped, madam?
Yeah, it's... Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, as you can see, the title of my presentation is Radiation Technology, a Versatile.
Full screen, please.
Hello. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, screen is
It's
visible.
not full
If you
screen.
can make it full screen.
Yeah, I've already made it.
Okay,
full screen.
fine. Proceed.
Can you see it now?
No, it's not made full screen.
Okay.
So you can just click the slideshow option and start from
Yeah.
slideshow on the tab. Yeah, so the one next to... Yeah, so slideshow, yeah. And
Yeah.
from current slide, you can, from
From
the
current,
beginning
yeah.
or from current slide, you can press, it will go
Yeah.
full screen.
Now it is okay?
No, so it's still not full screen.
Oh,
You can just maybe from current slide, you can start playing.
now?
It's same only.
I don't know what is the problem. Just a minute.
Thank you.
Current slide. I can see it full screen, but I don't know why it is not coming for you.
Okay, then carry on. I think.
I can carry on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will start my talk with giving you, first I will give some brief introduction about this radiation technology. And for those who are not from this field, so it will be very helpful to come to this common platform to better understanding of the process. And I will try to give the details about, like, basic introduction about the different processes which we can use for the different societal applications using radiation technology. So I will first talk about the radiation technology in the sense that everybody will see that when we talk about radiation technology, what is radiation we are talking about? So radiation, basically, as a typically we can see, the definition of radiation is it is a type of energy which is emitted by one body, then it is absorbed by the another body. So based on the energy, we can categorize radiation into two categories: non-ionizing radiation and ionizing radiation. So non-ionizing radiation is basically the energy of the radiation is not sufficient to ionize the molecules. For example, visible, IR, and microwave radiation. In the ionizing radiations, which has sufficient energy to ionize the molecules or to break the bonds, this is a kind of radiation which we'll be using for the radiation technology. So processing of material, we need to break the bonds or ionize the molecules so that we can do further chemical reactions to modify the property of the materials. The examples are like X-ray, gamma rays, alpha particle, beta particle, and machine-generated electrons. So we call it electron beam accelerator, protons and ions. So once we know that we are using ionizing radiation for the radiation technology, so next question comes: what are the radiation sources available with us? So basically, there are the two main radiation sources which are available for the radiation processing of material in radiation technology system. And first one is a gamma radiation source, and second is the electron beam accelerator. These are the two mainly used radiation sources for R&D as well as the commercial basis. Gamma radiation sources, basically we use radioisotopes which emits monoenergetic gamma radiations. Two main radioisotopes used for this purpose are cobalt 60 and cesium 137, as you can see here. Electron beam accelerators are the machine generated radiation sources where the electron beams are generated from the electron guns and then accelerated to the higher energy keV to MeV region using the different mechanism. I'm not going into the details, but these are the two radiation sources. Now, after that question comes in, what happens when we use these radiation sources? So here I'm just showing you two gamma radiation sources. Like first one is a gamma chamber. Basically, for the small samples, we use it for R&D purposes. The volume of the samples to be radiated is very low. Since 5,000 is the 5,000 ml is the volume of the chamber where we can put our samples. And at the bottom, you can see that there is an industrial gamma radiators where this is the conveyor belt based.
Or your slides are not moving.
Is it? I think there's some problem.
Slides. It's the first slide only.
Oh my God, I'm on the third slide. What to do then? Can you see now? Still on the first slide?
Only
Yeah,
first
still
slide.
on first slide only. Slideshow, I think you have put slideshow.
Yeah, I have put it actually.
Now it is changed. It has
Yeah,
changed.
it is showing
Now
now.
it's okay.
So I think I should not go for the slide show. I will change it like that.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay. You
It's
can
coming
go.
now?
It's okay, sir.
Yeah, it is now okay.
Okay, so
Magnify it.
it is on the normal mode.
Magnify it.
So basically, these industrial gamma radiators are the big plants where we have a radiation source shielded in between the thick concrete shielding. You can see here in the picture, and then when we pass the product packed in the tote boxes, they are passed near to the gamma sources inside this chamber, and then come out from the other side using the conveyor belt system. So coming to the electron beam accelerator, you can see on the left, this is a schematic of the electron beam accelerator. It is a big brother of the CRT based TV we used to have long back, maybe 15 years back. It is exactly the same. Only difference is that here the energy of the electrons which are accelerated is very high, keV to MeV region. And these electrons are coming from the scanning horn, you can see here. And under the beam, we put the product using a proper conveyor belt system. On the right side, you can see the actual picture of one of the accelerator we have in BRC. And there is a electron beam horn you can see, and underneath there is a product which is being conveyed by using power over conveyor. So just to give an just brief idea about these radiation sources. Now, once we know that these are the radiation sources, then the next question comes, then what are the basic fundamental processes takes place when a material is processed or is exposed to high energy radiation? So let us say we have a molecule AB. When we expose it to the ionizing radiation, so there are two fundamental processes. Ionization and excitation will take place. Excitation, as you can see, will give the excited molecules, and ionization will give the ion pairs, which will be further solvated if the solvent is there, or they may recombine together to give the excited molecules and ultimately dissociated to some radicals. So these radicals and solvated products, which we are seeing here after this ionization and excitation process, they are very reactive chemically, and they lead to the various kind of chemical reactions, which are the key for different application. Depending upon the application, we'll choose a suitable chemical reactions and the chemical environment, so that we can achieve a range of applications like healthcare environment, food industry, and so on. I will be talking about these applications during my presentation, one by one during my presentation down the line. So these are the different category I will be talking about and giving some specific cases under these heads. Then let us talk about what are the radiation processes available for the polymers. So what we do with the polymers actually, because polymer, as you know, is a very versatile materials to be used. If you see around us, more than 95% of the materials we are using are made of polymers. So it is very easy to modify the polymers chemically as well as by radiation. So whenever we expose polymer to high energy radiations, the first thing will happen is that there is a radical formation or some reactive species will be formed. Now then, depending upon our requirement, we can go for these four processes: grafting, cross-linking, curing, or degradation. When we, under the certain circumstances, when we irradiate a polymer and then put it in contact with the suitable monomer. Monomer is basically a functional molecules having an unsaturation, small molecules, unsaturation like double bond. Then what will happen? These radicals which initiate the polymerizations, and we end up with getting these grafted chains grown over the existing polymers. So this is called the grafting polymerization reactions, and this is very versatile reaction actually, which are used to modify the range of materials using radiation, high energy radiation. Now, the second process under the particular circumstances when these radicals are allowed to recombine together. Okay, so there will be bond formation between the polymer chains, intramolecular or intermolecular polymer chain. This is called the cross-linking process. And when this cross-linking process goes to the extent that a liquid formulation is converted into the solid matrix, that is called the radiation curing process. Now, the last process which I will be talking about is the degradation. Radiation also causes the degradation because it's a very high energy radiation. So when you pump some energy to the molecule, so it is a possible under certain circumstances, these radicals will not recombine together. And if you allow them to break the bonds of the main chain of the polymer, then we end up getting the low molecular weight oligomer of a polymer. So these are the four main processes. If we understand these processes, then we can understand the whole chemistry or whole process of radiation technology about the polymer modification and all. So these whole four processes are generally used for the different application I will be talking about today one by one. So with this now, I will take one more introductory transparency to show you that how versatile this radiation technology can be. As I already mentioned that we have a range of processes available with us. We can have a range of polymers with us, range of monomers are with us. Other than that, we have a choice of going for the surface modification, or we can do the bulk modification of a polymer. We can even go for the radiolytic synthesis of nanoparticles. Okay, so nanomaterial can also be synthesized by the radiation. Killing of pathogen is well-known fact that radiation kills the pathogens or bacteria or any microbes, and these all things can be done by the different processes we have. So we have to judiciously choose a particular system, particular process to get some target applications. We have mentioned some of these target applications here. You can, I'm not sure whether you will, they're very small because the screen is not full. You will not be able to see them, but some of these applications I'll be talking about during my presentation, so don't worry. So all these things will be covered. So just to show you that this radiation technology or radiation processing of materials is a very versatile tool. So we can use them very, I mean, as per our requirement, as per our applications and all, target application. Okay. Now with this introduction to the radiation technology, now I'll come to the application part and try to share some activities which we are involved in and which we have in fact converted into some technology also. So first one is I will be talking about the environmental application of radiation technology. I will be covering these four topics and activities under this head. First one is a radiation grafted functional adsorbent for remediation of dyes. And we know that these dyes are, pollutants are very notorious nowadays. Everything, everywhere, if you go in the cities, Nala and also everybody will see the black color of the Nala. So there is no river nowadays. So it is because of these dyes, different dyes are mixed together and thrown into the river. So the color becomes like dark. Second thing is the metal ions also very toxic. So how we will see that how we can use this functional adsorbent to remediate some of these toxic metal ions. And then working on another strategy like whether we can use some enzymes, some biodegradation, or using some enzymes to take care of some of the environmental the pollutants like dyes or organic pollutants. And the fourth one is a very recently we have come up with a new technology for hygienization of sewage sludge to convert into the enriched manure. So I will try to cover these topics and these activities one by one under the environmental application. Okay. So we have been able to synthesize a range of functional adsorbents using different kind of low cost or even waste materials as a substrate using a low cost monomer with the different functional groups. And for this, to achieve this, we use a simple radiation grafting process. We try to use water chemistry. There is no use of any organic solvents. That is our priority. Third thing is that we try to see that if whatever process we use, it should be environmental friendly and there should not be any waste generated at the backyard. So as you can see that there are the range of substrate we have used, cellulose, even the polyurethane foam, which is the waste packaging material, that also has been converted into some kind of some valuable materials. So, and this has been well documented in some of our research papers. So now coming to the first type of pollutants, like this is water pollution, which we know that it is becoming a very, situation is very grave because the water pollution from the industries and even for the human consumption of different kind of products, it has lead to the huge amount of water pollutants in terms of color dyes, metal ions, which is coming into the water bodies like rivers or even for the lakes and so on. So this is the present situation. I'm just showing pictorially that around us, this is the present situations. And sometimes this pollution has gone to the drinking water through the groundwater contamination and all. So it is a time to see whether we can do something to take care of these pollutants using radiation technology and all. And I will try to show you that how we are going ahead about this problem to solve this problem. Now, first, let us see that dye effluent, whether we can do something to take care of these dyes or to remove the dyes from the effluents which is generated from the different industries, textile, leather, paper, printing, and plastic industry. Let me tell you that this dye effluent or dye wastewater, it is a very difficult to treat effluent. Why I'm saying that? Because the effluent which is coming out from this industry in the form of a colored dye wastewater, it is a mixture of a large amount of a number, maybe more than 100,000 different dyes being used. So they are mixed together, and along with that, some auxiliary chemicals like surfactants, some gums, and other things during the printing and dyeing process they use, and everything is coming out as a waste. I mean, everything 100% you cannot use for the printing and dyeing process. So these dyes, up to 50% of these dyes are coming as a waste in the. So you can just imagine that what is the quantity and the situation as far as the dye effluent is concerned. And these dye effluents are not only toxic in nature. The dyes are basically they are aesthetic pollution. You see that it is a common man psyche that if you see a colored water, nobody is going to use it. And that is the thing, that these dyes are made in such a way that they give very intense color, because ultimately it is a demand driven thing, because the consumer wants a very intense color of the cloth. But at the same time, this gives a at the backyard this gives a big environmental problems by giving this aesthetic pollution. Other than these two things, this intense color of the dye gives the indirectly a very wrong thing, which I can tell you that it reduces whenever there is a colored dyes in the water bodies, like in a river or in a lake. It reduces the transmission of sunlight through the water, and it hinders the photosynthesis process, which is required for the aquatic plants down underneath. So because of this hindrance, this interfere in the photosynthesis process, the depletion of the dissolved oxygen takes place, and it has adverse effect on the aquatic plants and fungi. Even sometimes the fishes can also die. And this way, this disturbs the whole ecosystem and the food chain. So this is rather more dangerous situation, indirect effect of these dyes. So now, fortunately, due to some regulation, strict regulation from pollution control boards and some other regulatory bodies and public awareness, now there is a strict regulations and a lot of pressure on these industries to go for some viable solution or some technology which can take care of these problems and give some viable solution to treat the dye effluents before discharging to the environment or the water bodies. So let us have a look. What are the different processes available with us? I mean, like to take care of to treat the dye effluent. So there are the number of processes I have just mentioned here: the physiochemical process, biodegradation, chemical oxidation, radiation degradation, chemical, electrochemical treatment. These are the broadly 5 different kind of processes available. Maybe new processes are also coming up in the R&D stage. Physicochemical processes are basically processes different from these 4 processes, because here in physicochemical process using adsorption, ion exchange, filtration, and coagulation and flocculation, where the dye molecules or the pollutants are literally removed from the wastewater. On the other side, if you see other processes, they basically degrade the dye molecules. So the byproducts, which may be sometimes more toxic, especially for the azo dyes, which may lead to formation of some aromatic amines and all, if it is not mineralized properly. So there is a problem that some byproducts are still there in the water. But in physicochemical methods, using adsorption, ion exchange, or filtration methods, we are, sure that we are literally picking up the dyes molecules from the water. So nothing is left as a byproduct there. So the real fact, I've already told you that none of these technology alone is sufficient to solve the problems, because of very complex nature of the dye effluent. It is a mixture of different kind of dyes, so you cannot make a universal solution for the mixture of these dyes to take care of. And each process, moreover, has their own constraint in terms of cost, feasibility, efficiency, upscalability, sludge generation, operation difficulties, formation of potentially toxic byproducts, as I was talking about. So these all things certainly will lead to the situation where the combination of these processes are to be used together. So one process cannot solve this problem. Now, working on the circular economy concept, what we thought is to use the physicochemical method, because of the reason I told you that we want literally to remove whatever pollutants is there, dye, and we want to use the benefits of adsorption, ion exchange, and filtration. So we will we have the concept of using a bioadsorbent substrate, which is a bio in nature polymer, natural polymer, and to incorporate some ionic groups or the functional group onto it, which will act as a chemical filter. So literally, we want to remove the dyes from or the pollutants from there. So it will be another on the other side. It should be low cost. It should be recyclable, renewable, bioadsorbent based environment friendly process. This is our strategy to work on to solve these problems, and not 100%, but at least some part of it. So working on these principles, so we have chosen cellulose fabric as a bioadsorbent as a backbone. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm audible, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have used the radiation grafting process to convert this bioadsorbent substrate, that is cellulose fabric, into a functionalized ionic bioadsorbent, which will be used for the picking of ionic dyes from the effluents. As you can see in the picture, the selling feature of this process, I've already discussed some of them in the last transparency, but it is a green fabrication process. Why I'm saying that? Because we are using water-based chemistry. It's a single process, single step process, nothing, no chemical other than the monomers are used. And we want to make it low cost because the substrate and the monomers are very cheap, low cost, easily available substrate we use, and which is renewable, biodegradable and renewable. After that, its life cycle, it should not be a burden to the mother earth. So should be a biodegradable. Then high capacity bioadsorbents, so we can increase the grafting yield in such a way that we can increase the uptake capacity. It is easily upscalable to batch as well as a continuous flow mode operation. For the practical applicability, it should be used in the continuous mode. Like from one side you pass, and other side you get the clean water. And there is a possibility of recovery of dyes in water. The important thing which is here is that there is no byproduct left in the treated water. So whatever we are targeting, if we literally picks up, this is like a net we are fishing using a chemical filter. So working on this principle, so we have developed this bioadsorbent, functional bioadsorbents. After characterization, we go for the next step, that is the dye wastewater treatment, the lab scale in batch mode as well as the continuous flow mode operations. We validate this concept and then come out with the proof of the concept that we can certainly use it for the large scale. As you can see in the fixed bed packed column setup here in the in the bottom, we have packed the adsorbent in the fixed bed reactor, and then pass the effluent through it and come out with the clean water, and then it is plotted as a function of the volume, as you can see, to establish the breakthrough curve to see the efficacy and the other properties of the adsorbent for the large scale application. So I'm not going into the details of the scientific data and other because the time shortage of time. So I will just come up with the final slide of in this activity that we have come up to from the lab scale, upscale this whole process from the lab to the prototype and the pilot scale facility. And you can see here, so we started with the lab scale from the milliliter range, where small columns were used to establish the breakthrough curves, and then we upscale it to the liter range by big columns. Then we change the configuration for the cartridge-based systems, and then portable setup for the field trials. You can see here the pictures and the pictures of the field trials also in the actual environment, where the operational environment, we go and test it, because in the laboratory it may work perfectly all right, but when you go to the industry and the actual environment, operational environment, it may not work that efficiently. So we have to be very careful before claiming something. So we have to test it in the very harsh conditions, and especially for the industries, it is difficult to replicate your results in the industries, because their working style is totally different than what we do in the lab. So anyway, but we have to be ready for the harsh condition and test all those materials what we develop in the RSS conditions. Then the next step was to make the semi-pilot. We design it ourselves and fabricated in our lab semi-pilot setup. This is for the large scale optimization of the process and for the demonstration purposes to the user industry. The next step was, after we validate everything in the large scale, the technology go for the prototype setup, which is a multi cartridge-based systems, parallel or in series mode. That options we have, and it is for the large scale testing or field trials at the user industry, which is in the progress. I mean, like we are still in the process of these field trials in actual conditions to establish the whole technology. But this is a very promising technology which can be useful for treatment of this dye effluent in different industry. Of course, we have to be very careful to choose a particular industry because this industry, different dye industry use the different kind of dyes. So we have to be very careful. Like first we have to see the what is the disease, then only we can give the solution or the cause cure to that. So we should not go for the wrong disease for the wrong medicine. So that is the thing. So but we are very hopeful that we will certainly help these industries to give some solution, some viable solution through this technology. Now, with this, now coming to the second type of pollutants, which is a toxic metal ions. As we all know that this long prolonged use of toxic metal ion contaminated water by human beings cause a lot of different kind of diseases, mentioned here. So it is the right time to at least think about these problems and give some viable solution. So I'm just showing here, earlier I've shown that gamma radiation induced grafting, but one transparency I just wanted to show here that we can use electron beam also to do this grafting process. And I'm just showing you that the electron beam grafted chelating type of adsorbent we have prepared for specific target metal ions, including uranium. So this was a project actually. We have also used this for recovery of uranium from seawater, and we have been able to generate a quite big number of samples, like hundreds of kg of these seeds you can see here before and after the grafting. And this amido exam is the chelating group, which is very much it is well known for the very specific for the uranium. Even from the seawater, it can pick up uranium. Even the uranium is a very low concentration, and other in presence of other interfering metal ions. So with this now, the second type of metal ions, which is nowadays is picking up the attention of many environmentalists, is the chromium 6, and it is a known carcinogen. And the main source of this chromium 6 contamination in the water is from the industries, leather, involved in the leather and dye, or even the metallurgical industries basically. So they are creating these problems by throwing the chromium 6 based wastewater. And there is a serious problem in some part of India, especially the regions where the leather industries are situated. For example, the Kanpur region and some part of the South India, this problem is there. So we have also tried to use a special kind of adsorbent and tested actually. So this is in the initial phase, is not yet, tested at that large scale, but certainly we will try to see that if we can use this technology for this viable solution for this problem, for removing chromium 6. Chromium 6 is very carcinogenic. On the other hand, the chromium 3 is not that much toxic. So chromium 6 has to be taken out from the water. And you can see that this is before the treatment. You can see the yellow color waters in some part of the Kanpur regions from the hand pumps. If you see this yellow water coming, it is because of the chromium 6. The concentration is more than 10 ppm. So, and WHO limit is in the drinkable water is around 50 ppb. So you can imagine that what is the concentration. The contamination level is very high. So after treatment is complete, we remove it below the permissible level. And you can see this is the setups we use for this. So 1 or 2 times we have tested at actual conditions. Now we will be targeting this solution for problem also for the solution. The third one is the arsenic, which is also a big problem in certain part of India, especially in West Bengal or Chhattisgarh or even some part of UP and Northeast region. So this arsenic contamination in the water, groundwater and surface water is a big problem, because arsenic poisoning, you know that the arsenic causes the skin lesion and pigmentation on the skin is the main symptoms of arsenic consumption of water in human being. And other than that, there is a chances of many other different kind of cancers in the lungs, bladder, kidney, and all. And even the nerve damage also is one of the symptoms of this arsenic poisoning. Here we also, again, we use a radiation grafting process to make a special kind of adsorbent, which can literally we can make in the cartridge form and water purifier, as showed earlier during the dye effluent treatment. The similar kind of systems we have made, and we can clean the water up to the level WHL MCL level. So minimum contamination level is less than 10 ppb. So we can certainly, we have tested this and this technology and come out with the solution to give the domestic level as well as the community level water filtration system. So this basically, this is again the green, whatever I have talked about this technology, like green fabrication process, biodegradation, renewable, adsorbent, recyclable. We can recycle these cartridges by using a suitable eluent actually. So multiple times you can elute it and then you reuse it. And this is both the point of entry and point of use application. We have even this technology has already been transferred to some companies ready for the transfer through the BRC TTCD. So once we do all those things in lab scale, next stage is what we follow the TRL. I mean the technology readiness levels. Up to 9 levels are there, so we go step by step. So up to 4 levels we test everything, we concept and everything is validated in the lab, and then go for the pilot scale facility testing. As you can see here, for the breakthrough curves, the large scale testing in the actual conditions, and then go for the testing at real water samples in affected area. You can see the pictures here. So these are the pictures of the some field trials at Raipur, near to Raipur, some villages where the contamination level is very high. So we have tested this technology at the real ground, and after that only we have gone for the technology transfer to the different private parties. So we are ready with the technology for the domestic water purifier. There's a gravity difference for the villages where there is no need of any electricity, and also the community level water purifier where it can be used like for the municipality level or then the gram panchayat level. So we can set up a plant like this, and so it can be distributed after removing of the arsenic. So this is one of the lab scale studies we have converted into the technology, and which will be available to the common man soon. Coming to the second strategy for taking care of these pollutants using the radiation to functionalize polymers. So we have gone for a strategy that we can immobilize some enzymes so that we can reuse this enzyme immobilized better biocatalytic systems for remediation of some of these organic pollutants like dyes. So I will just show you one of the example here of the activities where the epoxy functionalized polymer beads. I mean, we functionalize the polymer beads of PES with the epoxy groups and then use for the dye degradation. So the first step is to functionalize it through the radiation grafting process, as I can show you here. This EPMA is the epoxy 2,3 epoxy propyl methacrylate. This is basically a double bonds which is used for the grafting process, and epoxy group is used for the further functionalization with the enzyme in a one-step room temperature process. So once we functionalize with the epoxy group, so it is very easy to functionalize the environmentally relevant enzyme like laccase, which can be used for the degradation of pollutants. So next step is after characterization, typical characterization use of TR, SCM, TGN. I'm not going to the details of these characterization tools. It is just for sake of understanding the process. And then coming up with the, so advantage of immobilization is that if we are using the enzyme in the free state, we have to add every time we have to add the enzymes. So it is very costly affair. So the purpose is to use enzyme immobilization process using radiation technology so that we can immobilize, fix onto the solid support of polymers, and then we can reuse it. So we need not to add every time the new enzymes, free enzyme. So once it is fixed onto this on the substrate, it can be reused. As you can see here, that it has improved the solid storage stability up to 30 days, and it can be reusable for multiple cycles. Again, you can see the more than 10 cycles without any attrition losses in the activity. And then ultimately, I'm just showing you that how we can use it for degradation of dye. AB25 is a textile dye which we have used in this study, and just this is to show the concept of immobilized enzyme-based robust and recyclable biocatalytic systems for the water treatment. So this is one of the applications of the new applications of the radiation technology. Similarly, we have also immobilized the nanoparticles which is synthesized by the radiation. I told you that, mentioned earlier, that we have the option of using radiation for the synthesis of nanoparticles, novel nanoparticles. So here we have immobilized this PD nanoparticle, radioactivity synthesis PD, palladium nanoparticles, which has a very good catalytic activity. But the only problem is that in the free state, it is not for it cannot be used for the large scale actually application. So we have used immobilization process to immobilize this PD nanoparticle, immobilize and synthesize simultaneously by radiation, and then which can be used. The purpose is to remediate the chromium. I already mentioned that the chromium 6 is a very toxic as compared to chromium 3. Chromium 3, in fact, it is required for the body for the metabolic activities, but chromium 6 is not required. So what we have thought as a remediation strategy is that why don't we convert the chromiums, instead of removing it, so we convert chromium 6 to chromium 3 using a suitable process. And here we are using the immobilized palladium nanoparticle based catalytic systems, which can be used not only for the batch scale. I will show you that we can use it for the continuous process. So this is the flow sheet where to make this PD nanoparticle immobilized catalytic reactor, the PD NICAR we say it. So the polymer is grafted. Again, we use the epoxy type of polymers, which is grafted onto the PECB, PP, polyethylene and polypropylene copolymers. Is a non-woven sheet with a high surface area, so that we can have a very good activity. And then loaded with the PD plus, this is a precursor of the palladium, and then irradiate with the gamma radiation under the optimized condition to get the PD nanoparticles. And this PD NICAR, which is the system we developed this way, can be used and has been used for conversion of chromium 6 to chromium 3 under a very mild condition. Again, we test it in the lab in the batch mode and storage batch mode as well as continuous flow mode. So, and storage stability and reusability is one of the criteria we are targeting. This is the main purpose of using the immobilization process. As I already mentioned, that there is a good storage stability as well as the reusability option is there. And we have tested, which is the main objective, was whether we can make use of this PD NICAR catalytic system in the continuous flow mode operation. Same thing which we have shown earlier, the same setup we have used, and only thing is that instead of adsorbent, we pack it with the PD NICAR system, catalytic system, and pass the chromium 3 from one side, chromium 6 from one side, and come out with the chromium 3. The room temperature process. And this you can see on the breakthrough curve, there is no breakthrough even after 3 liters. 1 gram of the catalytic reactor systems can treat even more than, there is no breakthrough, it is zero. There is whatever we are passing, the chromium 6 is not coming out. It is only the chromium 3 which is coming out even after multiple liters of few hundred liters. So this way we can, it is a never exhaustive type of process. So we can use it for continuously, and if you can upscale it, then it will be certainly helpful for the large scale application for this problem. Coming to the fourth application of environmental application, which is recently it has got a quite attention nowadays, hygienization of sewage sludge by gamma irradiation. As we all know, that sewage is the wastewater generated from the domestic premises, and it consists mainly the human waste. Whatever water we use at a home household, so it goes to it. Basically, the 99% of the water is called the sewage actually, and only 1% is a solid. 0.1% is a solid, and sewage sludge is generated as a byproduct when this sewage water is treated in the sewage treatment plant. As you can see here, the sewage treatment plant in the schematic, I'm just showing you that it goes to STP. It is biological degradation, and process takes place, activated, this processes take place there, and then it come out as a sewage sludge which is dried on the drying bed. So basically, ultimately, we end up with getting a lot of solid waste, which is called sewage sludge. Now, in fact, I don't see that. I don't consider sewage as a waste, although people say that this is a waste, but it has some derivable benefits. Why I'm saying that? Because sludge, which is generated in this STP, is very rich source of the organic carbons. You can see 20 to 40% organic carbon is there, which is very much required for the soil conditioning and the improvement of the health of the soil. This organic carbon that is why nowadays people say that we should go for the organic farming. But where this organic carbon will come from? Because the population of human being is more than the population. Earlier we used to have a farmyard manure, but that is, not the possible nowadays, because population in urban area is more increasing, and there the production of this sludge, which is having a good amount of organic carbon, can be used for this purpose. This is the benefit out of it. And other thing is it has got many good amount of some macronutrients and micronutrients, NPK, and these are also required for the soil fertility. But the problem associated with this sewage sludge is that it carries heavy microbial loads, especially pathogenic bacteria are there. So its direct disposal either to the dumping ground or to utilization in the land application or the agriculture application is really a problem for the urban development authority like a municipal corporation and all. So whether radiation technology can play a big role in it? Yes, of course. Radiation, we know that the gamma radiation kills the pathogen. So that is the reason we have been using this technology for taking care of these heavy microbial loads to reduce them to the level where it can be used for the agriculture or land application. One of the biggest challenges is the waste management of this huge amount of sewage sludge generated on the daily basis as a waste, although I don't consider it a waste. And if you see the reports, it says that around 7 million tons per year solid infectious sludge is being generated, and it is projected to be 24 million tons by 2050, or maybe even more, depending upon the population and population in the urban area. So the question is whether we can convert this waste, which is so-called waste, to the wealth or the valuable material. Answer is yes, and radiation can play a very big role in here by converting it to the organic manure. I will show it how we can do it. So as we know that radiation kills the pathogens, so if you take care of these pathogens, so certainly it can be used as a manure. And based on this technology, recently BRC has come up with the idea of, although we have been working on this area since many decades, maybe 3 decades, and we have a demonstration plant in city facility Barodara, but that was for the liquid sewage sludge or slurry type of sludge, which was not possible to scale because it requires a very large number of radiation sources, or the strength of radiation sources is not sufficient to treat the whole city. So we have come up with the idea that instead of the liquid sludge, we should go for the dry municipal sewage sludge irradiations, which is a scalable, practical, and economic viable process. And coming up with this idea, the first facility which is operational in Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, and second unit is coming up in Indore. This year it will be operational. So on the left you can see this is the schematic of the whole process. The dry sewage sludge collected from the drying bed of STP are crushed and packed in the tote boxes and irradiated to 10 kilogram dose, radiation dose. After it is hygienized with the 10 kilogram dose, then it is sprayed with the NPK. Bio-NPK is a consortium of the beneficial bacteria. So we remove the bad bacteria and add the good bacteria, which are required for the soil conditioning, fertility. And with this, now they act as a very good medium for the growth of these bio-NPK, beneficial bacteria. So, and then we pack it in the bag, seal in the bags, and which is ready for the land application. So you can see on the left, this is MNC plant from outside, these actual pictures, and some pictures from the inside of the plant. So this plant is already operational. Coming to the now, with this first part was for the radiation application of radiation technology for environmental application. Coming to the second part, that is healthcare application of the radiation technology. So here I will talk about 3 different activities using the different processes: radiation cross-linking, radiation grafting for antimicrobial fabrics. First one, radiation cross-linking for the wound dressing, and third one is radiation synthesized nanoparticle as a biosensor. All these things will be applicable for the healthcare application. So now I think, how much time do I have? Can you just please let me know? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So how much time do I have left?
Please go ahead, Dr. Virendra Kumar. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay. So now coming to the first one, is radiation cross-link hydrogels for the burn and wound dressing. This is one of the applications which has been already commercialized. It is maybe 1 decade back, and it is basically a very important product as far as the burn dressing is concerned. This is an advanced wet type of burn dressing, which has many advantages over the dry dressings, especially for the burn and the wound, chronic wounds which are difficult to heal up with time. So the process of making this hydrogel burn dressing, and let me tell you that hydrogel is basically a polymer which is 3-dimensionally cross-linked using radiation. So it retains its physical integrity. At the same time, it imbibes or it absorbs a lot of water. So in this case, it is more than 90% of the water in this hydrogel. So the process here, I've just shown here that synthetic polymer and natural polymer used, these are the biocompatible polymers. They mix together to make the clear solution, then put into the tray, let it settle, and then pack in the polyethylene bag, in the sterile pack, and irradiate with the 25 kilogram of the gamma radiation. The 25 kilogram gamma dose is fixed, keeping in 2 things into mind. First one is the cross-linking. Sufficient cross-linking should be there so that it will have the physical strength, and it can be applied as a form in the form of a dressing. And second thing is that 25 kilograms is the sterilization dose. So whatever product or whatever the hydrogel we are coming out of the 25 kilogram, it will be sterile and ready to use. So once you open it, once it is sealed, no problem, it is sterile. So once you want to use it, so you just open it and use it as it's in the condition. So this is the whole process of making these hydrogels for the burn dressing. And this technology has also been transferred to 4 private companies, including Dr. Reddy's lab long back. These are the some of the trade names: Hygel, Aqua Heals, and Aqua Gel. You can see that this certainly these dressings have many advantages of the dry dressing. First of all, they are non-toxic and a one single step preparation. There is no addition of any initiators or any chemicals. Just a gamma radiation will do the purpose. And the chemicals we are using is the polymers which are biocompatible. It is sterile end product. So 25 kilograms, as I told you, that it will give the sterile product. So ready to use. Then it provides, the important thing is that it provides a barrier to the bacteria. So from outside, when you apply once you apply this dressing, so from outside, no bacteria can pass through this dressing. So it is acting as a barrier to the bacteria, but at the same time, it allows oxygen to reach to the wound, which is required for the healing of the wound. And it more important thing is that, which is the problem with the dry dressing, is that it doesn't give the soothing effect. Whenever, especially for the burned wound, whenever you have a burn, so it is you are asked to hydrate it, put it under the water actually. So the same thing is done by this wet dressing, because 90% is water in these dressings. So when you apply this, it gives a very cooling and soothing effect. So there will be no trauma or pain to the patients, and it does not stick to the wound. That is also a very important thing, which is the problem in case of dry dressing. So once you apply it and they want to change it, it sticks to the wound. And when you take it out for the changing the wound, the dressing, then again the whole healing process is disturbed. So this is not the case in this case, because it doesn't stick and it is transparent. So you can see through the healing process. You can see in the picture. So you can see the process of healing in the wound. And it has good strength because of this cross-linkage. So these are some of the salient features of this process, and already this process is commercialized. Second, the product which is for the healthcare application radiation is the radiation grafted antimicrobial fabrics. I hope we all understand now, especially after this pandemic, so people have understood the importance of the antimicrobial fabrics or surfaces, because everybody wants that it should be antiviral or antibacterial mask, or it will be a sanitary napkins. Everything it should be like antibacterial, antimicrobial. So radiation play an important role to make these type of fabrics, and we have been able to generate a different kind of antibacterial fabrics, cotton, and different kind of using different kind of quaternary ammonium salt containing monomers. Quaternary ammonium salt is a well-known antibacterial, antimicrobial compound. So radiation play a very important role to incorporate these special kind of polymer or monomers onto the desired fabrics, and that we have done it successfully. And these are the target applications we are targeting. We are in the process of commercializing soon. So we will be coming out of some of the products like sanitary napkins, towels, pillow. Wherever we find that we find the possibility of the accumulating or the growth of bacteria or the viruses, there we have to use these antimicrobial fabrics, undergarments, shoe linings, socks, even sportswears like the hair bandage or the wristband and all. So these quaternary ammonium salt containing polymer grafted antibacterial cotton fabric, they show a very good antibacterial activity, as I'm just showing one of the results against E. coli. And yes, this is a gram-negative type and gram-positive. We have tested for the many other bacteria, possible bacteria, which can be found in some of the products. But you can see that the efficacy is so, the excellent efficacy, antibacterial efficacy, more than 7 log cycle, 10 raised power 8 CFU2, it comes to around less than 1 10 raised power, that 10 raised power 1. So more than 7 log cycle reduction in mere 6 hour contact time. So this is a very good activity. And we have not stopped it here. We have tested it gone for the animal testing to see its efficacy as bandages, whether we can use medical bandages out of it using the skin grafting method. So you can see that we use the Swiss mice for this, and compare it with the control bandages. It is found that there is no toxicity or other interference because of this grafted polymers in the wound. Rather, it gives a very good activity antibacterial activity, and it helps in healing the wound faster. Coming to the third one, the radiation synthesis nanoparticle as a biosensor. So I'm just showing you how we can generate the nanoparticles by the energy radiation. So we know that water radiolysis gives a different species, OH dot, H, and these are oxidizing species as well as reducing species. So we have to create a situation where environment where all the oxidizing species will convert into the reducing species, and these reducing species will reduce the metal ion precursor into the metal zero state, which will lead to the formation of nanoparticles. And these nanoparticles give the SPR band, specific SPR band, as we all know. That, like for the silver, it gives around 410 nanometers, and gold is with the 520 nanometers. So this gives a clear-cut signals and color in the solutions. So once we see that color and the UV visible spectra, then we are sure that we have end up with some nanoparticle formation. So now our target in this activity was to make some biosensor for estimation of uric acid using silver nanoparticle, which is generated by synthesized by radiation processing. As we know that uric acid in the blood abnormal, they are the reason for the different diseases, gout, obesity, diabetes, and so on. So our target is to make some easy and very simplest method, LSPR band, localized surface plasma resonance band optical estimation of the uric acid in presence of uric acid. So in presence of uric acid, this is the basic mechanism actually. In presence of uric acid, the uric acid gives rise to allantoin and S2O2. This is a S2O2 is generated, and this S2O2 when react with the nanoparticle which is generated with synthesized by the radiation, then it reduces its intensity of the LSPR band. Okay, SPR band intensity continuously reduces with an increase in the concentration of S2O2, and which is because of the concentration increase in the uric acid. So you can see there's a linear relationship between the decrease in the intensity of this LSPR band of silver nanoparticles and the concentration of the uric acid. So with this transducing signals, we come up with a special kind of biosensors using radiation synthesized nanoparticle of silver. And then again, this was like it is requires uricase enzyme for this reaction. So we again use the immobilization process to make it a kit which can be reused multiple times using this uricase immobilized on the radiation grafted polymer matrix. So this is the extension of that. Coming to the industrial applications, quickly I will take another 5 minutes, I think, to complete my talk. So now I am coming to the third application, the industrial application of radiation process polymers. So in this, I will talk about this first one, that electron beam cross-link of wire and cable. This is a well-established commercial application of radiation technology where electron beam is used to the cross-link wire and cables insulations to give better properties like mechanical strength, heat resistant, breakdown voltage, and insulation. For any applications where we targeted to use high power cables, so the insulation should be very, very good, very uniform, and at the same time it should withstand the breakdown voltage, high breakdown voltage. So these are some of the pictures I'm just showing you, that high power cables, foreign cables require this special kind of treatment. And this is one of the method, like electron beam in the 8 geometry, irradiation geometry, and how we can irradiate kilometers and kilometers long wires in a very short time. So this is how the geometry, I'm just showing one of the geometry. So for example, you can see here that insulation characteristic of a polyethylene and its operational temperature increase enormously from 75 degree to 150 degree after irradiation. So this is how I just wanted to show you that how this electron beam cross-linked wire and cable insulation improved the properties in an enormous way. Similarly, the ETFE, that's ethylene tetrafluoroethylene wire and cables made of it, when we cross-link with electron beam, it can be operated at the very extreme conditions from minus 65 degrees to 200 degrees. Especially, this is for the very important application, niche application like aircraft, or in the locomotive, or in the automobile industries, where we need a very harsh conditions. We want to use this wire and cables in very harsh condition, and at the same time we want to use a very low thickness of the wire and cables, so that to increase the efficiency of the whole of lenses. So salient feature of this process is that it's a room temperature process. We need not to heat it. Conventionally, the same process can be done by adding some initiators and then heat it. And here it is more uniform cross-linking because radiation penetrates very uniformly, and radicals forming, the cross-linking extent is very uniform. So we get a very, good properties as compared to conventional method, and it improved the performance at the wide operating temperature, as I shown here. Here that we can operate it at a very large range of the operating temperature, which is very much required for aircraft, ships. The heavy duty applications where the shelf life of the wire and cables should be very high. And the pictures I'm showing is that for the automobile, like in the bonnet, you can see that it's high temperature applications. You need a very, the high performance wire and cables. Even this is for the aircraft. Actually, inside the aircraft, temperature goes from minus 65 or maybe 50 to up to very high temperature like 250 degrees Celsius. And much lesser thickness of the insulating material is required, especially for the electronic devices like mobile, laptop. There inside there is a very tiny wire and cables are to be fit to reduce the wire, to miniaturize the whole process or whole appliances. So for those type of niche applications, electronic crossing wires have a lot of application, a lot of demand. Coming to the next one is the heat sinkable polymers. This is heat sinkable polymers also have a commercial application, second largest commercial application of electron beam, where the process is simple. That the polymer, let us say in the form of a tube, when you irradiate it and optimize cross-linking is done, then you heat it and expand it to some bigger shape, like you increase the diameter in such a way, and suddenly you cool it, you freeze this extended geometry, so it will retain its property, its geometry. But when you heat it, it will come back to the original state. That is because of the viscoelastic memory effect caused by the cross-linking, which is induced by the electron beam. So this is the process which has a lot of application for sealing contacts and joints of gas, oil. Nowadays, the days are gone. So nowadays, these heat sinkable polymers are only used for sealing these things, all the pipelines, air ducts, and ventilation systems. So you can see the picture down that just put this sleeve and then heat it. It will automatically seal the whole system. And even for the insulating the wire and cables against the extreme heat conditions in aircraft, military vehicles, and so on. Even for the bottle, the heat sinkable sleeves are used for the closure of the bottle. In the wine bottle, you can see on the top of the wine bottle, which is basically the heat sinkable sealing materials, which is used to just have a better idea for this whole process. The third one is the radiation. Now coming to I will just show you the one or two application of the radiation degradation of polymers here. Now we are talking about the cross-linking. So we can use radiation-induced degradation to reduce the molecular weight so that we can use the polymer in certain important application. And I'm giving you the example of the PTFE, Teflon. Teflon has a very good thermal stability, resistant to corrosion. It is very stable and has anti-friction, non-stick, and all. But on the other hand, it has a very low stability against the radiation. See, it has good thermal and physical strength, but it fails when used for the radiation in the radiation field. So we want to use that property, its degradation property, for some beneficial use, and that is to reduce its molecular weight so that it can be grind into very fine powders which can be used for the dry lubricant and coating material. So basically, to make the fine micro-size particles or the powder of PTFE, high molecular weight, is very difficult. So when you try to mill it, ball milling, and also it will get up ending with some type of lumps. It's difficult to get the very fine powder. But once we irradiate it with the radiation with a certain optimized dose, we can easily make a dry lubricant of micro size. You can see the pictures. I'm just showing you the particle size of actual samples which we have produced. And this process also has enormous industrial applications because the PTFE waste, which is otherwise very difficult to handle, it can be converted into these type of some valuable materials. Fourth one is the radiation curing process. It has a very large application in the high performance polymer coatings. Radiation curing, as I mentioned earlier in the initial transparency, that liquid formulations, when they are exposed to high energy radiation, electron beam or gamma, to generate the reactive sites, which initiate the polymerization cross-linking to the extent that this liquid formulation is converted into non-tacky solid matrix in the form of a coating. So this process has a lot of application. Wherever you find the coating applications, you can use this process, electron beam curing process, for the coating of high performance polymer. And it is our own work that we have used a different kind of nanocomposites, including some, by incorporating some nanofillers like silica or the clay for the abrasive or stress resistant coatings, which are having a lot of application in electronic screen, household wooden items, where you find that there is a chances of screen scratching or the abrasion. So we can make this nanocomposite coatings, anti-abrasive coatings, actually using this nanocomposite coating by electron beam. And similarly, for the flame retardant and barrier property, we have used the clay and polymer nanocomposite. For the gas sensor and optical limiting coatings, also we have worked on this by simultaneously curing and synthesizing nanoparticle inside the nanocomposite coatings. These are some of the literatures, some of our own papers where these studies and this work has been published. So just a quick comparison, you can see that what is conventional curing process and the radiation curing process. Conventional curing process is the solvent-based thermal process. Basically, the formulation has a lot of solvent, so you have to evaporate by heating it, and then it comes, it's deposited in the form of coating. So there is a lot of emission of this xylene, toluene type of solvent, which are the hazardous air pollutants and VOCs. And being a thermal process is energy intensive, and there's a very slow process. So it is basically used in the batch process. But on the other hand, radiation curing process, we use no solvent. Basically, whatever we use, apply special chemical oligomers, they are converted into 100% solid coatings. No emission of these pollutants. It is a room temperature process, high cure speed. We can do in online process. It's very fast, and superior product performance is there. And this is the last, only two transparencies are left. So I will just touch upon this agriculture and food applications. We all of you know that it has some application in agriculture also. Only one application of radiation degradation of natural polymers to fabricate or to synthesize some plant growth promoter for increasing the yield of agriculture. We know that it is well known that the radiation treatment of the polysaccharides, some natural polymers as sodium alginates, chitosan, and carrageenan, these are some natural polymers. When you irradiate them, their molecular weight decreases, and at an optimum molecular weight, they start showing some important properties like plant growth promoter activities. It means that when you apply them, these solution of these oligosaccharides onto plants, their activity and their growth increases enormously, and the production yield or the agriculture yield also increases. I'm just showing two example here. This foliar spray. I mean, we spray on the leaf of these plants, very low concentration, 100 ppm solution of this oligosaccharide. On the medicinal plant, here is a medicinal plant like mint and the lemongrass. It was found that a 30 to 40% increase in the essential oil. So you can imagine then how much profit the farmer can have because of this process. Similarly, for the flower plant also, we can use this one, and these are the results of the adenium flower plants. When we spray on the leaf of these plants, there is a enormous increase in the plant height, in the flowering and other properties. So these are some, just I wanted to show the glimpses of these applications. So it can be used for any other agricultural produce. And then just one slide for the radiation treatment of the food. The purpose is to ensure the food security to the whole population of the country. It is time that radiation technology should be used to improve the shelf life of these food items by reducing the number of pathogenic bacteria, spoiling the bacteria and insects. We know that radiation kills all these pathogenic bacteria, so it will certainly improve the shelf life when you irradiate with a very optimized dose. Then second thing is that it decreases the transportation and storage loss of the food items by delaying ripening, maturation, and sprouting. So like I've shown here, that for potato, if you irradiate with a very low dose of 0.05 to 0.15 kilogram, there is a delayed sprouting for onion and for potato. And some dedicated plants have been put up by DAE in near vicinity of Mumbai for this purpose. And the mechanism that it basically damages the DNA of the dormant cells, so that this sprouting will be delayed and it is stopped. So insect control, like it is one of the big problem in the atta or rava, where you find that there is insects after some time. So when you irradiate with a minimal dose, then you kill, basically damage the microalgae which are present there, so we don't get this. We can control the insects. Similarly, self-life improvement is also another aspect where the killing of the bacteria has higher doses, and at the same time it retains the physical and the nutritional value of. So these doses are optimized in such a way that they do not interfere or they do not damage the nutritional value of the food. And this is the symbol, actually. This is the International Food Irradiated symbol. This is Redura. So whenever you see this symbol on the package, it means that it has been treated with radiation. And this is okay from the WHO or agricultural or authorities or even the International Atomic Energy Agencies to use radiation for the preservation and the radiation of the food and consumption without any problem. So there is no harm with using, the consumption of this irradiated food. People have some negative, the perception, as we have already discussed, that irradiated food may have some problems, but there is nothing like that. It has been like the exhaustive research after the exhaustive this data regarding the radiation dose has been fixed, and it has been sanctioned by the authorities, international authorities. So with this, I think this is I would conclude my talk. It is, I've overshoot time by I think 15 minutes. I'm sorry for that. So with this now, I'm sure that you all are convinced that with my statement in my title that radiation technology is a versatile tool for material modification for wide range of societal application, and these are not limited to the activities which I have application I have mentioned here. These are some of these applications, and certainly the similar type of other application can also be targeted in radiation technology. So once again, I thank all of you for your kind and patient listening, and thank you very much. And if any question is there, please let them come.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for giving us an in depth account on radiation technologies and their varied applications. It was really highly informative and interesting talk. We already have few questions on the chat box, so I would take them up one by one. So, first question is from Nilima Rajurkar, madam. How much radiation dose is applied to the adsorbent for effective removal of dyes or metal ions? Typically, how much is the percentage removal and recovery of the studied dyes or metal ions?
Okay, can I answer now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, so as far as this adsorbent for the dyes, this is the dose is very optimal. I mean, very minimal. It is around 2 to 3 kilogram. So that is also we have to make it very cost effective. We cannot go for the higher doses, and
Yes.
depending upon our substrate, which is a bio adsorbent substrate, cellulose based, we cannot give a very high dose because it will degrade it. So it is very 2 to 3 kilograms is sufficient to get sufficient removal. Removal is like, we can ask me that what is the capacity, uptake capacity for a particular type of dye. So it is capacity is maximum capacity we can reach up to 500 mg per gram.
How
And
much
that
is
will
the?
also 500 mg per gram. So it depends upon the dye and the type of dye
Of
also.
course,
Because
of course.
yeah. So it is a good
What
capacity.
about the recovery, sir?
Recovery, yes. So again, recovery is for the particular die up to 96% even percentage we have achieved. But again, I am saying that this is not universal, because different dyes, it is a mix of dyes.
Yeah,
So we
it
have
will
tested,
vary. Yeah,
it
exactly.
vary, but it is a maximum I'm saying. And we have tested a range of different kind of dyes, but certainly they vary. I mean, there is a range actually. So maximum is a
And
95, 96%.
after the regeneration,
Yes.
again you have to give a radiation dose, or
No,
can
no, 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 no.
you
It
can use it?
is in one time we have functionalized it. That is one time, and then you can use it. So it is no
And,
need for any radiation
yeah,
also.
right.
Yeah,
Can we go to higher concentration also?
yeah. Basically, yeah, we
Because
can do.
we have used this technology for removal of dyes and metal ions.
Yeah,
We could go up to molar level of metal ion concentration, dyes concentration. Can we go to still higher concentration? I am
yeah.
asking.
See, madam, these are the adsorbents with having some functional groups. So these adsorbents had some capacity. Yeah, of course, you can go for, like I said, that's why I said this is the capacity of the adsorbents 500, let us say
Right.
500 mg per gram. So if you have a higher concentration, it will saturate faster. So you have to regenerate it faster. So it is not a problem. So you can go, depending upon your concentration, its capacity will be like, capacity will decide its
Because usually all the studies are done at ppm level. That's why I'm asking you.
yeah, a ppm level, even for the 1000 ppm, yeah, you can use it for multiple 1000 ppm, so not a problem. But only thing is that higher the concentration of the dye, faster it will be
Yeah.
saturating. So you have to recycle faster.
But excellent talk and very interesting applications.
Yeah,
Actually, people are always afraid of radiations, but such kind of lectures will definitely help to aware about the radiations to the society. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
So the next question is from Dr. Gajanan. His question is whether sewage sludge gets converted into scales after some days or years.
Scales means I didn't get it. I mean, like,
So, scales are like sulfates, nitrates in the sewage water.
Can
And
you
these sludges in the sewage water, they are in the sludges form. After some time of the treatment, due to the radiations, do they convert into the scales?
No, nothing. Basically, the sludge, earlier we are using this liquid sludge treatment, so that
Yeah.
is not scalable. So now we have used the 75 to 80% of the solid content of the sludge. Only 25% moisture is there. So
Okay.
once we irradiate it, the purpose is to kill the bad bacteria or
Yeah.
pathogens. Once it is done, then we spray the beneficial bacteria onto it,
Okay,
biofertilizer,
sir.
NPK, BioPK. So then they grow very fast. They will not let
Okay.
other bacteria go. There's a competition. So once they
Okay.
then you pack it into the bag and then it is ready for the use. So there is no scale formation after this thing.
Okay, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Very nice presentation and
Thank you.
eye-opening
My
one.
pleasure. My pleasure to interact with you all. It is a nice
Thank you.
experience for me
Thank
also.
you, sir.
So nice of you. Thank you.
So the next question is from Dr. Sanjay Kumar. He asks that can UV radiation be used to sterilize masks, currency notes, keys, mobile phones in this pandemic? Is it efficient?
Yes, UV radiation has been tried by different companies. In fact, you have got some UV radiator for this particular application, especially after this COVID. But UV radiation, like efficacy and other things, if you see that one of the issue with UV radiation is the thickness which you can treat it. I mean, like if you have a multi-layer system, so only upper layer or up to certain micron level you can irradiate because UV cannot penetrate up to the lower level, especially for the, let us say, for the mask. So masks are the multi-layers, like minimum 3 layers system are there. So if you should be very much careful that your all layers of the mask or the any PP kit should be irradiated with the UV radiation to the required dose. Okay, to make it sure that everything has been sterilized, because it is for the medical purpose. So sterilization is something very strict actually. Like, so if you see the sanitization or the sterilization, there are two different processes. The sterilization means you are sure that the sterility assurance level of 10 for -6 you have to maintain. So of course people can, like for the currency notes, you can of course you can do, because surfaces you can do, you can do both side radiation and you can do it. For keys and mobiles where there is a chances of overlap or the shadowing effect, then there may be some problems. So certainly UV is very effective in I mean, like antimicrobial treatment. It has been used since long time and is very simple process, but only thing is that the shadowing effect is one of the problem.
So our chief guest, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu, wishes to share one point. So please go ahead.
Yeah, sure, my pleasure. Sir, you are mute.
So you are muted, sir.
Unmute yourself, please.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Virendra Kumar's excellent presentation.
Thank
I
you, sir.
want to share that
Yes, sir.
in 1988,
Yes.
that arsenic problem in groundwater has come up.
Yes.
Dr. Dipankar Chakraborty of the Environment Director, Environmental Science, Jadavpur University just started the work.
Yes.
And that time only they have sent 100 of sample to our analytical chemistry division in BRC by P.K. Bhattacharya.
Okay.
The P.K. Bhattacharya.
Yeah. That I got the award for.
And we have done the analysis by neutron activation analysis.
Oh.
And we have seen that part of the area, the people are having 30 to 70 ppm of arsenic in their body. And you will surprised to know that what the sample they have sent to us is the human hair, nail, and needle biopsy sample. So little sample.
Oh my God.
So we cannot analyze by other instrument.
Yes.
That's why he sent it to neutron activation analysis.
Yeah, that is
And the very benefit of this neutron activation analysis is that it is non-destructively can be done.
correct.
And why this arsenic, they have sent the hair, nail? Because arsenic has a tendency to form a complex with the sulfur.
Yes.
And these hair and nail, they contain the protein keratin.
Correct.
And that contains is amino acid cysteine, that is the sulfur.
Correct.
So that is where this bonding is very high.
Correct.
So in that case, the other method is not possible because arsenic is a volatile substance.
Yes, yes,
So specificity and sensitivity for the other instrument is not that.
yes,
Only this is neutron activants can help at time.
yes, yes.
Another thing is that in forensic science, if you know that the arsenic is there, but
Mhm.
how much toxic arsenic is there, you do not know,
Mm.
because arsenic is two state, that
Yes,
is 3 and 5.
correct, correct.
3 is the toxic, 5 is not the toxic. In the court of law, you have to state that what is the percentage of toxic arsenic.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
in that case, we have done that work by speciation studies. What
Correct.
you have, we have used the ion exchange and
Mhm.
speciation studies,
Correct.
and we can give the result. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is the thing I want to share with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. This is
The
yeah.
first work we have done it in BRC. This is the
Yes,
content. West Bengal, some area contain the arsenic in groundwater.
correct, correct. Still is a problem there. So nice to hear, sir. You are our alumni. So it is nice to hear from you. And you again use radiation technology for the estimation. So you can see that the versatility of the radiation technology. I mean,
Yes,
this is
yes,
one of
yes.
the technique
That
which other techniques cannot do.
definitely, there no doubt it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So only thing is that, as you said, that people are not aware of these things, and maybe it is not their fault. It is basically it is not available to everybody. Every university,
No,
you cannot.
no.
So we have to. Yeah, this is one of the medium we can disseminate this information through the webinar and other things. Thank you very much for like inviting me and uh, giving an opportunity to share some of these important things. These are not all, but at least something I could share, whatever I could share actually. So, thank you.
So the next question is from Dr. Rajiv Raghavan. Uh, uh, i- in fact, there are two questions from him, so I'll just take them up one by one. His first question is, what happens to the plastic materials in sludge after radiation?
Uh, Basically, sludge. And if you see the process, sludge treatment plant process, there is no chance that plastic material should be there. It is basically in the sewage treatment plant, the sewage, which is a 99%, 99.9% is water, only 0.1% is the organic component, and that are mainly they are soluble. So when they pass to or they treated in the sewage treatment plant, this is converted into the organic sludge. Actually, this is basically the dead cells and biodegradation after biodegradation of these organic materials and their dead cells. So there is no chance then there should be any plastic material there in the sludge. But if any chance they are coming out from some other contamination, that I think that is not a problem. But radiation will not cause any effect on those plastic materials at 10 kilogram. They, I mean, like what way? I don't know whether you are thinking that it will be like some toxic generation or other thing, but that is not happen there. Uh, First place, there will not be any plastic material in the sludge, and if it is there, then there is no effect of radiation at the 10 kilogram in the harmful effect. So it is not a problem at all. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
it is
Thank you, sir.
okay that I could understand your question and answer it properly. If anything is there, you can
Oh,
clarify.
thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and sir, there is another question from him. His question is, will there be any damage to DNA by radiation on food materials, and how will it affect the consumers?
That's why, I mean, DNA of what? DNA of food, DNA for the material, or the DNA of I mean, like I didn't get your question. Like DNA of the
Sir, you're telling that it will be affecting the DNA of that some materials. It will be changing the DNA
ha
during the radiation.
ha
So
ha.
is it affect the other materials also, the food we are consuming? It
Yes.
will
So
also there will be change that even a change in the DNA can induce some cancer, other things also. Those are consumers.
So basically, first of all, we are irradiating the food materials to the dose which are set by the regulatory bodies, and it has been well established that at that dose there will be no change in the nutritional values, including the DNA you are talking about. And moreover, the consumer, and it has been studied actually. It is not that just for one or two studies. Thousands of studies has been carried out over the 2-3 decades actually. That's why after that only some products which can be irradiated, it has been clearly mentioned in the protocol. So all the materials cannot be radiated. and all the materials, different materials have the different dose limits. That's why I've shown you that a particular application you need to have this much of dose range. I've shown in my transparency. So that is well established. So no worry about that part. And there has been no reports till now that there is any ill effect after consuming the irradiated food. Even you see, I will tell you that in USA it is a common affair actually using this irradiated food. I mean, consuming this irradiated food. So if USA people are there,
So
they don't have any issue like that. So it is actually passing all those norms actually. So that's why it is not a problem. So there is no need to worry about that part. That is again a
Sir,
sure.
that means the label, the packet contains the label also. It is radiated by this type of treatment or something.
Correct. So that's why I told you, that there is a special label, Redura. That is a label.
Okay.
If it is there, it means you should know that it is irradiated. It is in fact more safer. This bacteria is more dangerous nowadays. Actually, if it is you are nowadays in our mall and all, no, we are also getting westernized. So we are also going for this packaged food and all. So it should be properly, I mean, sanitized or whatever way you can say. And radiation is one of the effective method for doing that. So there is no problem. I think we should be worried about that.
Okay.
Shall
Thank
I
you.
say something on this question?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Because the radiation sources which are used, for example, if you take cobalt 68, its energy is 2.5 million electron volt. And for the reactions to occur, it needs very high energy, more than 17 MeV or so. So it will not definitely affect this DNA.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I don't think there are any further questions.
Yeah, I would like to ask some question.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
The Sri project in Baroda.
Yes.
There, after hygienization, there was the water was recovered and recycled to serve as irrigation purpose in some orchard, and the solid waste, as you said, was used as organic manure. So in the coming days of water scarcity, this particular technology which recovers recycled water will be quite useful, is it not? So is that model being continued, or it will be totally replaced with the dry method?
Yeah, so basically, this new process is basically targeting the sewage sludge, the
Yeah.
solid waste.
Yeah.
The liquid waste, the liquid or the water you are saying that is not being targeted because the volume is very high.
Yeah, correct.
That much of volume, you certainly require a very large amount of water
Yeah.
irrigation sources. But that
Yeah.
practically, scientifically, theoretically, it is possible and it is well established.
Yeah.
So that
Because
that
we also
demonstration
have
plant is for that only. Yes.
we also have established model, for Sri project
Yes,
is a
yes,
model.
yes. That was a
And
demonstration.
my second point is, last week we had a talk on plastic pollution and then how to tackle this radiation degradation application. Can it be used for solving the menace of plastic, at least to some extent?
Yeah, of course. I have not gone to the scientific details. Like some polymers are cross-linking type when they
Yeah.
are exposed to radiation. On the other hand, some polymers are degrading type. Let us say for the, I have given one example
At
of,
least there is some scope. There is some
yes,
scope.
yes, PTFE. You see this PTFE waste,
Yeah.
it is a very difficult.
The third question is, in a commercial scale, the polymer composite particle boards with the radiation polymerization was manufactured commercially in the Western India plywood in Kerala, and they made railway seats, the old design,
Correct.
molded seats,
Correct.
and they supplied it.
Yes.
So nowadays, there is an extensive use of particle boards
Yes.
for furniture and many other applications.
Correct.
So there is a scope of reliving that technology, which will make a lot of commercial impact. This is what I felt when I listened to you.
Yes, yes. Actually, the process is well established. Now it is the industry to take up it because many of the industries they are not aware of this advantage of this technology. And moreover, other than the performance, this is a environmental friendly process. I have already shown you that when the strict regulation comes up, certainly they will go for these environmental friendly processes.
Yeah.
A lot of scope is there.
So it was a very, very interesting talk, and you practically covered such a vast subject. Subject to the time limitation, you have nicely covered it. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I've overstood the time and rushed through. Sometimes I would not be able to make you understand some of the things I missed. So
Yeah,
sorry for
only one point which I noticed was high productivity and disease resistant seed developed for agricultural purpose. Though its deployment is in large scale is not there, but that technology is already developed by
Yes,
BR.
yes, yes. I have not touched upon that radio
Yeah,
pharmaceutical and agriculture
yeah, correct. Yes, right.
because it was then it will be again half an hour more time will be.
I know. So
And that
thanks.
was not also my field. Basically, I'm not from
Yeah, that time restraint,
yes.
constraint. Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you very much. It was a very nice talk. Very good coverage.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Dr. Virendra Kumar,
Yes, sir.
uh, it was really an excellent talk and highly informative and really versatile applications we have covered. At just a little curiosity, I don't know whether this forum I should put this question or not. Dr. Basu, you told me that arsenic 3 was the main culprit. And why it is so? Why not? Why arsenic 3 only, not arsenic 5? Can you throw some light on this? Just out of curiosity, I am asking.
Is this question for me or Dr. Basu?
Dr. I think Dr. Basu would be able to answer it.
Yes, yes.
No. This is Dr. Saran.
Yeah.
Dr. Arsenic 3. Then we see the arsenic 3 is the poisonous,
Yeah, I
not
understood.
arsenic 5. Because
whether any particular reason for this? Arsenic 3 or arsenic 5?
no particular reason. The charge
fine,
only.
fine.
For
That's
the
all,
charge
that's all.
only.
Thank you. Thank you.
Only.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So before I proceed further, sir, may I have your permission to share my screen?
Yeah, sure. I will
Yeah.
go out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Just a minute. I will just stop it. Thank you.
Yeah, with great gratitude and appreciation, I would like to cite the Certificate of Excellence, which is to be presented to Dr. Virendra Kumar, sir, for his excellent talk and contribution. Indian Society of Analytical Scientists Headquarters and Indian Society of Analytical Scientists Nagpur chapter, in association with Department of Chemistry, Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur, in recognition of the outstanding work, is happy to confer this certificate of excellence on Dr. Virendra Kumar. He delivered an insightful talk on radiation technology, a versatile tool for multifaceted applications, on September 4th, 2021, during which he shared his immense insight, great expertise, and enriched knowledge about applications of radiation technology in the fields of biomedical sciences, nanomaterial synthesis, and fabrication of novel composites, etc. The talk in this webinar synergized immensely with the objective of ISAS in promoting excellence and relevance. I now request Dr. Alok Kumar Basu to virtually present the certificate to Dr. Virendra Kumar.
I am very happy to present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Virendra Kumar, who has given an excellent presentation and delivered the talk in very elusive way. Your outstanding scientific knowledge in the various development of radiation technology really commendable. Thank you, Dr. Kumar, and I wish you to continue to do your research work, which will definitely reach our country in future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Adya madam.
Thank you. I want to ask one thing. I want to ask one thing.
Yeah, please.
This radiation technology, I think we are you are your group mates together. Have you worked for this COVID-19 scenario? Whatever application it can be done, I think it is done something. I'm not recollecting.
Yeah, actually, we have initiated some work whether we can recycle the PPE, used PPE kits,
Yeah, that's what.
even the mask also. Yes, we have initiated that, but that was a time when we were shortage of PPE kit. I mean, that time India has not enough PPE kit, but now later on it was thought that it is better to have a new PPE kit because it was not come up industrial I mean, the demand was not there, but certainly it is the options for sterilizing those kits if reusability is required.
Can be taken apart, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be
Other
certainly.
things are already standardized like that.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be sterilized. Those things
I
again.
knew that they have started this. You
Yeah,
and other.
in the last April we have done that.
Yeah, I had heard.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. It was
Thank you so much.
really
Thank you so much.
excellent thing. Excellent. Nice.
I would now request Dr. Chandrachudan sir to virtually present letter of appreciation to Dr. Alok Kumar Basu.
Hello. Yeah, it is my great pleasure, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu, who was an outstanding expert and also he joined in a very active mode in discussing various issues related to the presentation. So it's my great pleasure to hand over our letter of appreciation. Thank you, Dr. A.K. Basu, very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All good things have to come to an end, but before that, I would request Ms. Akshata Bharti to propose the formal vote of thanks.
It is my honor and privilege to propose the formal vote of thanks, and I express my gratitude to our President, Dr. Chandrachudan Sir, our Vice President, Dr. Raghav Saran Sir, and I am thankful to Dr. Avinash Bharti and Dr. Rajiv Raghavan, Chairman Webinar Committee, ISAS, Nagpur Chapter. I would like to thank today's chief guest, Dr. Alok Kumar Basu, ex-deputy director cum coordinator, Central Forensic Science Laboratory, Pune, for sparing his valuable time and inaugurating the webinar. My heartfelt thanks to our today's speaker, Dr. Virendra Kumar, Head Advanced Materials, Section and Associate Professor, HBNL Mumbai, for delivering such an insightful talk. His talk has truly added a different perspective in our minds. I would like to thank Dr. Gajanan and Dr. C. Srivastav for the introduction of our guest and speaker. And I would also like to thank Dr. Preeti Mangrurkar to compare the webinar so smoothly and efficiently. And finally, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Shreya. Thanks a lot. I thank you all for participating in today's webinar. We hope to see you again next time. So, from all of us here at ISAS, thank you and have a very good night.
Thank you very much.
Finally, I thank you all and thank you, Preeti.
Thank you, Virendra Kumar sir.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
And please take care of
Thank you,
yourself.
everyone. Thank you, Bharat.
Take care of yourself, healthy.
Thank you, Virendra Kumar
Thank you.
sir, Alok Kumar
And
sir.
Dr.
Thank
Basu,
you.
thanks a lot. And Dr. Virendra Kumar,
Thank you.
thanks a lot for excellent talk.
For my pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bharat.
Thank
Please be in
you.
touch
Sir.
whenever you need anything. Discussion.
Thank you, all dignitaries. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Please
Good
be
night.
safe.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Bharti sir, good night. Thanks a lot.
Good night. Good night, Yamuna.
Good night. Good night. Chanchuran sir, good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Dr.
Good night,
Virendra.
everybody.